of the Taliban, backed by the CIA. The Haqqani group operates from North Waziristan. And the Americans have written that they have taped General Kayani, describing Haqqani as a strategic asset. और क्या सबूत चाहिए आपको? General Kayani describes the Haqqani leadership as strategic assets. Even today, what the Pakistan is doing is pretending it is acting against extremism, but acting against only those groups that challenge the writ of the Pakistan army. Mainly those groups security is being threatened by radical Islamic groups operating out of Pakistan, out of Afghanistan, with the connivance of the state authority of Pakistan, which is the Pakistani military. It's not just ISI, it is the entire military operations, military signals, military communications, everything is thrown in. But the Pakistan army today is faced with a two-front situation. The Americans are squeezing them on the Afghan border. The Americans are not going to help you beyond a point. They will provide you evidence, intelligence inputs and so on, but ultimately on this we are on our own. Now, I told you that Pakistan strategy has been based on making use of weaknesses in the Indian setup. Therefore, there are two prongs to this strategy. One, join the rest of the world, including countries that are excluded, like Iran, Uzbekistan, Russia, and Tajikistan, in seeing that should the Americans wake up, decide to leave Afghanistan, we are in a position to fill the vacuum. We have done it in the past, we can do it again. Remember, the Iranians hate the Taliban even more than we do. The Shia-Sunni divide is huge across our entire western neighborhood, across the Gulf. The Iranians will not tolerate a return. Second, at the beginning of my lecture, I said that there are elements to state power. Your political strength, your economic strength, and I also said your ability, your covert, undeclared strength to mold developments within your neighbor. If your neighbor seeks to mold developments within India, you have every right to respond appropriately. This is not irresponsible use of military force, but developing a strategy to inflict costs to Pakistan within Pakistan, whether it is by their tie-up in Afghanistan with their radical groups there, or through other means. Unfortunately, and I'm saying this bluntly, I'm not in politics, for the last 12 years we've had political leaderships which are confused by slogans like Aman Ki Asha. You should be very, very clear in your mind that you are faced with a challenge to your nationhood. Please believe me, I was told by a former Director General of the ISI who told me कि आप तो जनूबी हिंदुस्तान से हैं, आप तो हिंदुस्तानी हम नहीं समझते. Meaning Hindustan is only up to the Deccan Plateau. That हम माहौल आपके मुल्क के अंदर बिगाड़ सकते हैं. The larger aim is to disrupt communal harmony in this country. Let us recognize this very, very clearly. And when I go back to what I said, India's greatest achievement is to be able to build a society which transcends religious, ethnic, and linguistic differences. Civil society and nation-building institutions don't depend on the politicians. Politics is made on being divisive. Has a responsibility to ensure that this Pakistani aim does not succeed. So I think this is it. Second, I think the extent of our propaganda thrust has been weak. If the Prime Minister of India sheds tears for Pakistan being a victim of terrorism. If responsible officials of the government of India say terrorist attacks are carried out by non-state actors, if after we reach a conclusion that dialogue will commence, which was what the Vajpayee-Musharraf declaration was, after Pakistan assures us that terrorism will not be used from its territory, if you have suddenly a change of policy saying the dialogue is irreversible and will not be affected by terrorism, if I am the ISI, I'll have a party. Now, what I'm saying is the need for, firstly, civil society working together to see that the aim of disrupting communal harmony or even ethnic harmony in distant places like Assam are not affected by external interference. And secondly, inflicting a cost on Pakistan which makes it too costly. One last point. I'm not a believer in the indiscriminate use of military force. But you have to have a deterrent military capability. If every year the government surrenders over 10,000 crores because it cannot equip our armed forces with weapons, there is something wrong in our system of defense acquisitions. Raman Puri is a greater expert on that than I am, but there is something wrong, and this transcends governments. Do you know, out of fear of Bofors, the army has not received artillery worth its name for the last 20 years? Do you know that roughly 30 of our 45 squadrons of the Air Force are operational? Is this how a country which hopes to have a deterrent maintains its defense forces? I think these are issues we need to address. I am sure you will. But in an ultimate analysis, I have faith in the strength and resilience of our system. It's good to be back in Hardwar and renew one's spiritual links. It's good to believe that we can tide over this. We need not get unduly worried. But at the same time, I don't think turning the other cheek constantly pays. Thank you.